This weekend's project is installing these Cavalier seats in the Jeep. Why Cavalier seats? Well, that's just because that's all I have. It's what I got available, that's what I'm using. Why am I changing this seat? Well, I'll show you. So here's the old seat here, and the problem was when you're sitting in the seat, you're kind of sitting on a slope, you're falling down on the left side, and it's kind of like, obviously there's something wrong with the seat, but basically the fabric is coming down to this metal, and then you know, stuff is loose in here. The other thing that we found was this is all damaged, and then down here you could see where somebody had made a repair there. So I think that this seat had its issues right from the beginning. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna change the bracketry from the Jeep seat and then install the Cavalier seat onto the bracketry. So this is from the Cavalier. So we've removed that off the Cavalier seat, and then we use the Jeep version of this and we put it on that seat. And then if we do a comparison, you can see that this is the Cavalier seat, and then that there is the factory Jeep seat. Now, myself and a few other people testing these seats and everything like that, we all agree that the Jeep seat is softer and more comfortable. These ones here, they're comfortable to sit in, but they're harder because they don't have as much cushion in it. As I said before, it's what I have available, so it's what I'm using, and it's fixing the current condition that we have with the driver's seat. We've removed the passenger seat here, and all that is 4 bolts. You got 2 in the back there, and then you're gonna have 2 in the front, 1 there, one over there. As you can see, is these are the brackets here, and then it's pumped over. Like, you see how much space is on this side of the seat compared to this side. This side is close to the door. This side would be where your seatbelt mechanism is there. So that's to the console there. So this is the Cavalier seat. You can see that it's kind of, you know, not as extreme, but they kind of got a similar thing going on. What we're just gonna do is remove this whole bracketry system, and there's gonna be 4 bolts that bolt that onto the seat, and we can see 3 of them. We've got 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and then there's gonna be 1 hidden in behind there. Once we remove those, we're gonna get our bolt pattern here, and that's pretty much a square, and it's gonna be something like, I don't know, 14 by 13 and something. And then we're going to have our bolt pattern on here from this bracketry, and then we're going to take these ones and we're going to put it on our new frame for that one. Once we've done that, then the frame will bolt to the seat and the bracket will bolt to the frame. We've tacked up our transition base here, and what I've got is I've got the green numbers are for the original Jeep seats. We have 11 1/8, that's the distance from here to here, and then we have 11 1/4, and that's the distance from there to there. Now in red, what we have are the holes for the seat itself. So that's 14, and that's from there to there. And then our next one is 13 1/4, and that's gonna be from there to there. The seatbelt latch, that comes in under here, about there. I move this over so that bolt would not interfere with our seatbelt latch thing. That way you don't need to disconnect this to get at that bolt. So that was one of the changes that I've made. Other than that, these two, when I've moved these 2 in here, hopefully I'll have the clearance on the seat itself. So when this seat bolts, this bracketry bolts onto the seat, it bolts flush to the seat. So we can't have these bolts interfere, these ones to the bracket, this bottom adjustable bracket. So what I'm talking about is right here. When that bolts onto our transition base, we needed that other piece to be in here because the top of the heads of them bolts are going to be in this area here. So we can't have them too close to this, otherwise it wouldn't work. As we're test fitting our bracketry here, we noticed that this bolt here is pretty tight to our adjustable slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pump that out that way, maybe 1/4 of an inch, just to get some access there, so we can get a socket on that, so we can easily remove the bolts. We want to be able to access all the bolts, top and bottom. So these top two here, they aren't bad to get at. You could adjust this, or you could remove it off this side, kind of get it out of the way to get at that one. Easy access there, easy access there. We're just going to adjust this over just a touch. And then when we do that, when we bring this one over here, we gotta match it here. So we're gonna have to bring that over the same amount. Here we have the two brackets on the floor here, and this is the configuration. That's the driver's side, this is passenger side. We're gonna take a look at a couple things here. Now, first off, as you see, they're not the same. We've got these two pieces here. That one's right at the end, and these ones are more centered. I built this one first, and then I ran into some trouble. The trouble is, as I indicated earlier on, is these are too close together. So that bolt right now is stuck in there. You would have to remove this runner in order to take that out. What I did to remedy that was I just moved that up to here. Now we got all, you know, there's no interference at all to bolt these holes onto the seat, and then to bolt these holes onto our adjustable runners here. But the problem is that I'm building this Jeep for my daughter, and she's short, and when I tested this side on the driver's side, it just didn't bring the seat up far enough for her. We want to fix that so that she's able to drive the vehicle with no complications. And in fact, this is what the factory setting for the seat is. We go back to this design for the driver's side, if that's what we need to do. But the problem again was, not only do we have these things are a problem, but that's easily fixed, because what we're going to do is we're just going to take that and we're going to shove it over this way, and then on the back side we're going to have room in order to get that bolt. That fixes that problem. But the next problem is because these bolts are so close together, the bottom of the seat, it won't bolt flush. It's not going to bolt flush on there on that bracket, because there's too big of a pad here. So like that bolt head would be like here, or even worse on the top side. You can see where that would be a problem. So then what we need to do is we're going to need to have some kind of shims here that are going to make up the difference, that are going to be higher than the bolt head. So we've got a couple options here. So I've got these kind of square washers that I could use, and then I could tack these into the place, and then everything should bolt on as it should. Or I could even go one step further, and I just build a 1-inch spacer, and then I put that on there, and then I just tack that on, and then the seat's up a little higher. Got both these brackets done and painted and bolted on. Seatbelt catch on, it bolts in on the side there, on the bottom. This is the original fastener here, this Torx fastener. As it turns out, this is a 3/8 fine thread bolt. So all I did was I just changed this out for a regular bolt, and now you don't need the special Torx end to remove that or install it. So that's the last thing that I did there, is change that bolt, and we'll bolt those on, and then all we have to do now is just bolt them onto the seats. Got both those seats installed. We have the driver's side just a little higher than the passenger side, just to accommodate the driver. It also goes forward just a little bit more than the passenger side as well. One of the things that I noticed was when I bolted the seat in, it was hard to operate, and that's because these bottom tracks here, they can kind of like twist or shift. So it's, instead of being straight up and down, it could kind of twist on an angle. My suggestion would be to leave all the bolts loose and get in the seat and operate it back and forth. And then once you're happy, tighten them, keep trying it. Once it's done, it should operate freely. But the design of these bottom rollers here, the way they are, they can twist and distort and cause you some trouble. And that could be also too if you had that with your factory seat, because these are the factory sliders on here. We just modified the bracket to have the seat bolt to the factory sliders. So everything's installed, it works, everything's good. We'll move on to the next thing.